Hi all, I'm Tina Jones, and I am going to be celebrating 5 years of uploading videos on YouTube very soon. I believe April the 29th will be my 5th year anniversary. I joined before then, but that was my first upload. So I wanted to give something back. You all have been so supportive with me, and I've gone off on many tangents and some things that I've gotten interested in, but for me, painting is just the heart of my being. So what I've done is I have recorded this work up to where the point that you see it right now. This is my son Barry, and I'm very excited to do this. I don't know how much more of this I will put on YouTube, but I wanted to tell you that in case you didn't know, I am also a host for About.com's painting forum, and I will be posting still photos as I go along in this painting. I'll be talking about techniques and answering questions as I go along. So that is the best place to find me. As always, I appreciate comments here. I want to encourage all of you. I truly believe that anyone can learn to paint. You will learn to paint what's meant for you to paint. You can learn techniques of all different kinds of ways of painting, but what's inside you will come out. And I do suggest that people learn the basics. I can't say enough for drawing practice. No matter what kind of good lines you get in the beginning, you're going to lose them in the painting somewhere along the line. Those drawing skills will save your painting later. Anyway, I hope you'll follow me along, and I will put links below to my blog, which has some information in it on painting as well as lots of other things, and my website, and I'll put a link to the thread at About.com where I'm going to be working through this. Thank you all so much for your love and support of me through the years. It has meant the world to me, and let's get painting. Bye. Hi, this is Tina Jones. I'm starting a portrait. This is my son Barry, the handsomest young man in the world. And I'm going to be painting him. He told me that he would like to be wearing his glasses, so I'll be combining parts of this photo with parts of another photo I took of him where he's wearing his glasses, and I think they look good on him. I have to agree. I love the smile in this one, but this more peaceful, gentler smile, kind of one of the eyes, is the one that just really touches me more and feels more like him. What I've done so far is that I've combined the two. Of course, I've put his glasses on him, and they are slightly askew. This side at the top will need to come down just a little bit, and this one will need to come up just a little bit. Otherwise, they're pretty even. I'm going to be adjusting this shadow because his cheek stands out right here, and then it comes back in here toward the eye socket, and so I'm going to just kind of roll this and then bring it back into a curve and bring it up. This is all done in Derwent drawing pencil in brown ochre, and I don't see it laying around here, but that's what I did it with. And this is not a watercolor pencil, but it can be moved with a brush and water if you feel like you've made mistakes that you really can't correct with your acrylic or oil paint. I am using oil paint. I'm using Liquin Original right now, and this is a pot that I have my brushes in from my last painting, and I tend to go from one to the next. I may do a video on showing how to clean brushes. My palette is a microwave plate that I have laying on top of some paper down there, and I clean this in between with usually, well, when it gets built up a lot, I'll clean it in between with a page scraper, and always scrape away when you're doing that, but it cleans very easily. It's glass. I don't have to worry about scratching it. These are colors from my old painting, but what I'm working on here is cobalt blue, and Venetian red. It's also known as light red. There are some different names for the colors, but it's the same pigment. This is a very earthy, ochre-like red. And there's my cobalt blue. I have liquid here in an old food tin, and the golden color over there. And I have about half as much my odorless thinner in here too. I just find that mix dries a little faster. It just spreads things easier too for me. Later I would just be more liquid. But I've dipped my brush, just touched it into the cobalt blue and put a little here in the center, and then the light red and put a little here in the center. And I take some of my mix here and put it on the brush and just lay it down in here, and then I get a thin mix of this new kind of an earthy purple color. I'm going to come back in here and get just a little more of this, lay it out here. And what I want right here now is something real translucent. All I'm going to do with this is come back to my sketch, and I've begun laying in forms that I really want to stay on my canvas. Things like details of the eyes. I don't want the irises moving around. I've got them precisely where I want them. And his teeth are really important to me to get right because they're very unique to him, and also different portions of his beard that are lighter and darker. I want to make sure that those stay. So what I'm doing right now is basically freezing things in place, because this might move a little bit if I just go on to paint over it. This detail of this eye right here, I'll start over here, and I'm going to pull down as much as possible rather than paint up, so I don't push the bristles out of shape. Also, if I have my hand here and I'm going to trace the glasses, not only can't see what I'm painting under there, I can't see it either. So oftentimes I'll move the brush, I'll paint in short strokes, and sometimes I will even paint from right to left. I'm right-handed. If my hand touches the canvas, it's going to be on the right of my brush. So I'm going from upper left across. I can go from lower left across as long as I don't have my hand in paint. Sometimes I balance like this, sometimes it's my fingernail on here. But I never come in for a detail without touching the canvas in some way. You can have a maul stick, a stick across the canvas that you'd hold with your other hand, and just balance it over on the edge. And I'm not doing that right now. I'm holding the camera. I wouldn't normally use them anyway. It's just a personal preference. I've already done this eye, and I've come up here and done part of the hair and stopped right here because I'm going to be working on this eye, and when I get up here I don't want my finger in paint if I need to hold it there. I wanted to mention too that one of the things about painting that makes it look more natural is something that often seems like a problem to people, and it's that the brush only holds a certain amount of paint. I can use a longer bristle brush and it would hold more paint, but like on the lips I don't really want a hard line going across there, and the brush will run out of paint. What I would do is make soft lines coming up here in small strokes, and you know, I mentioned in another video that I did when I first got on YouTube that especially if it's a male, if you put that hard line in, it's going to look like they have a lip liner on, and you just don't want that. So these small strokes, and the brush will run out of paint, and it kind of gets lighter and lighter. So one thing that I do often is that I'm just making strokes in here. You don't want that hard line. He does have some spaces between his teeth, but I don't want that hard line. One thing I can do, because the brush runs out of paint, is I look at Barry's eyebrows,
And he has a dark place between here and here. Just right, it goes under and then up to the top and over here. And what I can do is start out, my brush is freshly loaded, and what I can do is start out by laying in strokes. I don't want a solid line anywhere because these are hairs. That's just not going to be solid. And as I go along, my brush is going to run out of paint. So I can come up, can you see there's a top, there's the bottom layer, here's a top layer. Well, my brush is running out of paint, and the top layer is much lighter on him. So as this dries, this is going to be darker because there's more paint. And it comes over here. And the area up here is kind of a medium tone. And out to the outside of his eye, barely there. So as this brush is running out of paint, it will leave less tone. Let's see, it's coming down to about here. I'm going to go ahead and make that line and bring it out. So already, just from the beginning, I've got lights and darks established in his eyebrows, just because my brush runs out of paint. And I start with the darkest first. Okay. From the photo, I can see that the light in Barry's eyes is on the upper left. I'm just going to point with my shadow here. Right? So I know that it's going to be right here on his eye. And I can go ahead and put in a little sort of a circle where I see it. And if it's going to hit his eye there, the eye is reflective, and so are the glasses. It's going to hit his glasses here too. Here's the light, and the light's going to shine through and flare out on this side of the eye, which will be the lightest. So I know that light's going to come in up here, and I can see in the other photo sort of the shape of the light, and it's just going to be between these two spaces, basically. And it's going to come down across this lens and create a light spot over here at the same angle that it is in the eye.
At this point, I have put in a lot of the lines and some of the shadows, the major lines in his beard where the darkest parts are. And as before, I've let the paint run out of the brush to do the lighter parts, and I'm going to go ahead and work in the hair some. And as you can see, it's not a solid mass. Basically, above this eye, there are 2, 3 lighter places in here, and I'm going to try to locate those on the painting. And I've got one here, basically right in here, and got one up here. A little more paint. And at this point in a painting, when I've gotten this far, and I'll go ahead and continue this out some, I begin to hear the word slavish, or slavish, depends on who wants to pronounce it what way. I don't have exact correctness. And I'm not someone who's particular about the way someone paints. I'm getting a larger brush here. This is a 1/2 inch angular because I have a larger space to do. Slavish usually refers to paying attention to details, and sometimes it'll make people mad, and I don't really know why, except that they don't like painting that way, and that's okay with me. It's most certainly not a requirement. Putting in darker parts, and I'm going to add some more liquid because it will get that dark, but it's a little darker than I want it to be right now. You can probably see
red and blue in there. And I think people should be true to what's right for them in painting. And to be slavish feels to me, like someone who is not having a good time, who wants to do it a different way, and they should. Absolutely should. And I've done all different kinds of, painting. And I have some very loose impressionistic stuff and some few expressive things. But what's most enjoyable to me is to put some detail in. And to me, right now, there isn't very much detail in this. It's about the place of how do you pronounce it? Is it M-A-N-G-A, manga painting, where and I've had a lot of subscribers do manga painting, and that is so cool to me, to think that I might be able to add something to their work. But it's to some people this would be slavish. This would be too much work. I've made it hard. I've spent about 20 to 30 minutes on this so far. So to me, no, it's not hard slavish work. It is something that I've had to do a lot of, but if you want a perspective on what the difference between painting slavishly as far as feeling and not, give a person a piece of chocolate, and I'm going to move back and forth checking as I go. I'm looking at the hair, and give them a piece of chocolate and watch them for a while, and if it's something that they really, really love, anything, could be anything, and watch them for a while, and you'll see them slowly pick up the chocolate. They may sigh when they look at it or something, and they'll put it in their mouth, and they'll roll it around in their mouth, and they'll savor it, and they'll oh, that's so good, and want some more, and maybe have some tea or coffee with it, or whatever. And they're enjoying every last detail of the chocolate, but they're not doing it slavishly. And that's how I enjoy painting. For me, every last detail is part of the wonder and the enjoyment and the sensuality. I don't work for a finished painting. I work for enjoying the journey. People can do that no matter what kind of painting they do. Some will be faster. Some, like me, will move a little more deliberately, slowly. And it's all about what feels good to that person. There is no right way and no wrong way to paint. I'm going to come down here on the neck using my wider brush, noting shadow. And he's not clean shaven. So this does not need to be smooth, and it won't be later. And I can be loose in this area. And later, I can tighten it up with some of the hairs. So, that's the vocabulary word for the day. And if you would, I'm going to be posting this on About.com, the steps as I go along. Some of you may or may not know that I am a host for About.com's painting forum, and I've done several of these step-by-steps on there. And I'm just noting this is going to be a little lighter than it is right now. I'll be smoothing some of that out with the brush. But anyway, you are welcome to join me there. I will put a link at the bottom of this. I'm just going to pull that out and start making the shadows on that side of the face. Go ahead and work on some more on the shadows on this side of Barry's face, wherever it's sunk in. And again, I moved this line to come back, to come over his cheekbone and go back in. So this area that's sunk in from here, now the eyelid comes forward, so that's going to stay a little lighter, but I'm going to go ahead and make this darker. And as I do this, my paint is so thin that my drawing underneath is retained, and I've given that some time to dry so that it won't move out of place. Again, the cheek's coming out. Here's his cheekbone, and I'm feeling on my own ear. I'm going to say from this lower opening, the opening in the ear forward, that's where the cheekbone is. So, and you are your own reference. You know, if you have trouble, if there's things that you can't really see in a photo, you can go to a mirror, you can go to another person. People are all built with the same parts, and there'll be different sizes and different shapes, but the bone structure of the human body in general is going to remain the same. This ear is going to be darker. So what I'm going to do with that is just go ahead and glaze over the whole ear. Now, there are people who I've seen since I first put my videos on, I've seen some people do glazing by putting quite a bit of paint on and then wiping it back off, and that's a good way to do it too. I'm very frugal with my paint, so I don't do it that way. I just and to me it's I'm also frugal with my time, so I just want to get to what I feel is the important parts. I'm going to go ahead and let's see, put a little more on the side of his nose here. This is going to sink in beside his eye, and I've already got it darker there where I've smeared some of the pencil that I used under there. I'm going to bring this down. He has, I don't know if you can see, I'll point right here coming up diagonally toward the nose. There is a piece that comes down, and I'm going to go ahead and follow this up onto the nose. The nose is not perfectly flat right here, so it's going to curve around. Be light on this side and then darker as it comes over. So there are some shapes in the shadows there that I'm going to attempt to recreate, and it is not easy for me to paint and talk, and I'm moving the camera as my eyes move as best I can, because I want you to see what I'm looking at. Now here, I'm looking at the shape on the inner corner of that right eye, and I see, some fanning out here. This is going to be darker. I have missed a light area, so with a clean brush I'm going to come in. It's light right here, and it comes up right here, so I can just remove that little bit of paint with a clean brush. I can come back over that and dab it with a paper towel if I want to do that. And if you've seen my videos before, you know this. I always keep my nasty paper towels forever because they work forever. Okay, I guess I'm kind of frugal with them too. Besides, they get really good and soft after you work with them for a while. They're like old friends. So again, if you find people with a sense of humor in their painting, you'll find a happy person. I don't like cranky painters. And I'm going to glaze. Now this whole beard is darker than the surrounding skin, but I've got my dark set in there, so I can go right over the top of this. What I try to do is follow the hair pattern. This is smooth. I'm not going for individual hairs at this point. I'm shading. This area is light on Barry. Let's look down here by his mouth. It's right there. Lighter than the surrounding, so I'm going to keep that a little bit lighter. And I'll come down around it. And I am finishing up shading. The next thing you'll see is hopefully shortly after I get this posted, I will have this on onabout.com, and I will have the shadowing of this initial stage finished there. And I hope that you'll join us, give us a peek, and maybe you'll get inspired to paint yourself, or paint somebody else, but what I meant. Thank you so much, and I'll be working on the shirt, and I hope to post, if I don't post the rest of this series, I will at least put together a montage of still photographs from beginning to end. And thank you for watching, and thanks for 5 wonderful years. Bye bye.